coming in, where after Meta India head was booked, now it seems that the Hyderabad Cyber DCP has been relieved of his duties. And the DCP who had booked Meta in this case has now been relieved of his duties, and he's now been moved out and he's been asked to report to the DGP headquarters. So this seems to be a development that has now happened. Sabyasachi, is any link that has now been drawn as far as Hyderabad Cybercrime police had booked Meta India head? And over when it comes to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's post over there, but what is being said that the officer who was overseeing the investigation had registered the case involving Meta India has now been reportedly transferred and directed to report to the DGP headquarters. Now, this seems to be a significant development amid the controversy surrounding the case against Meta India and following the content online. And Cybercrime in Hyderabad, DCP, Arvind Babu, who is now being relieved of his duties. So this is coming across as a development because Cybercrime police had registered cases against the operators of several Facebook and Instagram accounts and parent company Meta India's head over allegedly morphing and objectionable content that seems to be targeting the Prime Minister during the Cockroach Janata Party-led anti-paper leak protest. So that seems to be the allegations that have been leveled on Meta, but the officer who seems to be handling the Meta case, meanwhile, has been relieved of his duty. So, Somit, if you can take that question, is there any link that has now been drawn? This is coming across as a development. The Cybercrime DCP has now been relieved of his duties.
Well, Amita, we have just reported yesterday and day before yesterday when initially complaint was lodged and later cases were registered against the Instagram and Facebook users and the operators and also the Meta India head. After, nearly 20 links were produced and stated that derogatory content, defamatory content has been used, and even deepfake videos has been used against the Prime Minister, and also at the same time insulting the nation. And after that, a case has been registered. 2 cases have been registered, and now the DCP, who is the head of the cyber cell of the Hyderabad city, he's leading the team, and on his instructions, 2 cases have been registered against the users and also against the Meta India head. Now he has been relieved from his duties from the cyber cell Hyderabad city, and he has been attached to the DGP office. So he will be reporting to the DGP office shortly. And like I was mentioning, this coming after the recent developments, because there is no other big complaint against him is what we have learned from the sources. And at the same time, we have also learned from the sources that because it's the Congress government and because, now the case is being booked against the Meta and also the users. And now after that, this has, snowballed into a huge controversy after the case is booked in a Congress-ruled state. So yes. Only after that, the DCP has been asked to...
so the officer who was overseeing the investigation, registering the case involving Meta India has now been transferred and has been now directed to report to the DGP headquarters. But let's get an explanation for our viewers of what we are now looking at of the sections that have been invoked as far as these cases are concerned. Punishing identity theft, that is section 66 we are now looking at of the IT Act. Then we are looking at section 67 of the IT Act, which involves punishing obscene content. Then we are looking at section 353 part 2 of the BNS that covers public mischief content, and also section 336 part 4 of the BNS that covers forgery of electronic record. So that seems to be the charges that had been invoked as far as these cases that was booked against Meta India, and the allegations on Meta that seems to have been taken up on part of the cybercrime police there in Hyderabad. But the policeman who raised or booked as far as this case is concerned, he now seems to have been relieved of his duties. Somit, thank you very much for joining in. Let's in the meantime